Hi students, I am Dr. Umadevi Kunti, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Government First Grade College, Rajnagar, Hubballi. For a 5th SEM, Paper 2, Unit 2 and Session 3, I am here to explain the types of animal behavior. More than 6 types are there. In the Session 3, only 3 types I have to explain to you: innate, taxes, and reflexes. So, innate behavior, the objectives and the outcome of these 3 types. To understand the kinds of animal behavior, innate, taxes, and reflexes with relevant examples, and the outcome of this chapter is outline the patterns and mechanism of innate, taxes, and reflexes with suitable examples. The types of animal behavior: innate type, instinctive type, learned behavior, imprinting, habituation, learned behavior, conditional behavior are there. But this session we are going to deal about the types of animal behavior. First one is the innate type of animal behavior. So this type of animal behavior, animals behaviors that are closely controlled by genes with little or no environmental influence are called innate behaviors. The definitions of innate behavior is that behavior is controlled by the genes. It is already innate, that is inborn only, inside the animals only that behaviors are there. So that is why this type of behaviors are controlled by the genes with are sometimes no environmental influences. The external influences not takes place. Inner influences like controlled by the genes itself. There are behaviors that occur naturally or exposed to a certain stimulus, do not have to be learn or practice. The learn or practice or comes under the learned behavior, but this type of behavior is inborn only. The following behaviors are the example of innate behaviors. As we know that one, the web making in spiders, nest building in birds, cocoon spinning in insects such as moths, swimming in dolphins and other aquatic species. Here, the animals do not get the practice or experience. Those behaviors or activities are inborn only. As we are going to study the nesting behavior in birds, so many types of the nests are built by the different kinds of the birds. So here, beautiful architecture by the built of the birds, and as well as suckling. Innate behavior, the best example is the suckling, and innate behavior where the animals receives the milk from their mothers. So when as soon as the baby born, the suckling process takes place. It is not a learned or practiced. It is inborn only. The simplest type of an animal behavior is a fixed action pattern. It is an example of the instinctive or innate. FAP is nothing but a fixed action pattern. The FAP consists of a series of actions triggered by a stimulus. The pattern will go to completion even if the stimulus is removed. In FAP, what happens? The stimulus occurs, the stimulus trigger, the animals continuously responses. So this pattern of behavior is comes under the FAP. Another type of behavior is known as the taxis behavior. It is a form of movement or behavior by the movement of the animals involves towards the movement or away from the stimulus. If the stimulus occurs towards the positiveness, the animals moves or movement takes place. If the stimulus occurs, but the response is not takes place, the movement not takes place, that type is known as a negative taxis. So here some are the examples. The animals towards the light are away from the light. If the responses towards the light is nothing but a phototaxis, and chemicals signals is by the chemotaxis, the responses takes place by the chemicals, the stimulus occurs by the chemicals and the responses occurs, that type is known as the chemotaxis. And some animals are towards the gravity, those are known as the geotaxis. Some animals towards the earth or what soil. Examples is a earthworm. Examples of the taxis and earthworm move away from light negative, that is a negative phototaxis, help them survive as this takes them into the soil, helping them conserve water, find the food, and avoid from the predators. Now we know that when earthworms are the beneficial organisms, the soil fertility takes place, farmer's friend. Those are negativity towards the phototaxis. In the soil, they have to get the habitats and help them conserve the water and food, and as well as those are avoid from the predators. That type of taxis is helpful to the earthworms. And third type of behavior is known as the reflexive behavior, in that it causes unconscious responses to stimulus. Here, the suddenly occurs responses is known as the reflexive behavior. It causes unconscious responses to stimuli. Perhaps the example of an innate behavior is reflex action, an involuntary and rapid response to a stimulus. So it occurs unconsciously. Give the examples of that one. Reflex actions are when light acts as a stimulus, the pupil of the eye changes in size. Suddenly, the fraction of a time only, the animals gets responses. A reflex is inborn or dependent on physiological maturation rather than on learning. These all three types of the behaviors are not practiced, not learning. Those are get inborn only, are independent. They are not having the any sign of learning or what we call it as a practice process. A sudden jerky withdrawal of a hand or the leg when pricked by a pin, or coughing or sneezing because of irritants in the nasal passages. These are some examples. Those are suddenly occurs with the help of the stimulus and the responses within a fraction of time. So those are the some examples. You know that when the baby is love with their parents, especially the mothers, that what hold the hands of the mother, it is comfortable, and this behavior is inborn only, not a practice. And suddenly the baby hold the mother's hand. These are some examples, and one example of the dog. So if the dog is what over time the dogs learned to process or to associate the ringing of the bell with the food and respond by the drooling. So over time the dogs learn to associate the ringing of the bell with the food and to respond by drooling. But eventually they would respond with the drool when the bell was rung. Even when the unconditional stimulus, the food was not absent. The food was not there. So in that, what happens if the bell is ring and the dog is drooling with the food, but sometimes without food, the bell ringing takes place. The dog drooling. So these are what we called as reflexive actions without learning or practiced, because already those are inside the body. These three are the best examples and as well as the types of the behaviors unknowingly are not practiced or not learnt by the animals of others stimulus. Only they have to respond by the stimulus suddenly and already there inside the body. So these three types are comes under the types of animal behavior of the section 3. So under that we are going to deal the some MCQ questions. Innate behavior, which of the following is a type of innate behavior? The options are taxes, habituation, reflex, and toxins. But the example, answer is the taxes. And second one is the photokinesis is an example of the innate behavior. Which of which of the is not a type of learned behavior? That is a conditioning, habituation, sensitization, and reflex. Third one answer is the reflective action. So fourth question of the MCQ is instinct, kinesis, taxes, reflexes are all types of behavior or the all dash type of behavior. Innate, habituation, sensitization, and learning are the options of instinct, kinetic, and taxis reflective behavior. The fourth answer is the innate behavior. And fifth one is which of the following would be the best to describe the reflex? A slow learned response to multiple stimuli, a rapid learned response to a simple stimuli, a rapid innate response to a simple stimuli, a rapid innate response to multiple stimuli. The answer is a rapid innate response to a simple stimuli. That is the best option, the reflex. So references for this type of animal behavior, the Timbergen and Nicholas, the animal behavior book, the Lifetime Books, New York, and another one book is Animal Behavior Ethology. That is a book by the Agarwal Publications, S. Chan Publications, written by the Dr. K. Agarwal. Thank you.